Hi guys, it's me, Ollie Ooglesnop, and first of all, thank you guys so much for over 300 subscribers and for all the support on my last few videos. You guys are awesome, and I hope you guys like this video too, which, of course, as a surprise to no one, is me redesigning more OCs from 2021, because it's actually possibly my favorite pastime. Today, I'm just gonna be, picking some more old characters out of the dumpster and giving them a makeover. I made these guys, like I said, in 2021 with just the emptiest head you've ever seen, so I'm really excited to go back and give them some substance. So let's get into it. First, we have Jules, who was my favorite in 2021 and also is the only one whose name I ever wrote down, so he's the only one that I remember his name. Like I said, I had nothing in my brain when I made these characters besides their aesthetics, and Jules was very much the spiky hair, emo, grumpy, gay guy, and that's a character type that I made 1,000 times when I was younger. All I knew about him was that he had a boyfriend and hated his new roommate and looked like that. So that was it. So obviously, for this redesign, I made him into a vampire. Was that really necessary? No, but it is important to me, and also, I don't have a vampire character, and I wanted one, okay? Is that so wrong? I actually drew all of these 2 months ago, and I'm looking back at them and having some realizations, and I think Jules might be kind of Ira All Saints Street coded if he wasn't funny, so if that gives you an idea. Anyway, Jules is a nighttime convenience worker. He's 25 years old, and I think he might also be like a popular Twitter artist or something along those lines. He kind of looks like he would be popular on Twitter as an artist. He graduated college a couple years ago and is just really struggling to figure out what he wants to do with his life. He's sick of his job, he doesn't really know what he wants to do. And even in college, he just waffled about his major and what he wanted to study the entire time he was there, and he ended up with a degree in general studies that he doesn't know what to do with and doesn't care about. He's really just cursed with the most heinous indecision and a habit of getting really, really passionate and into something for a couple months and then suddenly just being totally uninterested in it. And that's because, like the other characters in this video, he's really relatable and just like me. He's also a vampire and mostly nocturnal, so he is restricted in what he can do, and that annoys him, but he also blames a lot of his problems on the fact that he's a vampire. A lot of his problems come from the fact that he cannot make a decision to save his life, and it's not just that he's a vampire. And speaking of the fact that he's a vampire, I sort of do like it being kind of an understated part of his life, and it basically amounts to a really bad allergy of sunlight and an unconventional diet. And Jules does drink animal blood not because he has any qualms with drinking human blood as long as it doesn't hurt anyone, but because he can get it delivered. He just orders large amounts of pig's blood and keeps it in the fridge. So that's Jules. I think he's cute. I think he's neat. I really like these drawings. I love his little expressions. I think he's so cute. Next up is Noah. And as I mentioned, there's no way that I could ever remember what his name used to be. So we're just going with Noah. He looks like a Noah. Like Jules, Noah was very much an archetype for me when I made him. He was the short, cute, nice, soft boy with like curly hair. The characters that I used to make a lot are embarrassing to me to look back on. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but they really just had nothing going on. I really did like the grumpy sunshine dynamic at that time, and I'm gonna be honest, it still eats, okay? I still like it sometimes. So I'm keeping him. His personality is pretty similar. He's still nice. He's not nice, he's more kind-hearted, but he also has a very sarcastic sense of humor, and his delivery is so flat. A lot of his jokes just go right over people's heads, and people don't pick up on it, and they really boil him down to his cute face and being, you know, nice and sweet, and it really bothers him because, I mean, of course it does. It would bother anyone. And the baby face definitely contributes. Noah is like the opposite of Jules in the sense that he knows exactly what he wants to do with his life, which is to be a forensic pathologist. Like the people who do autopsies. Huh? You get it? Because his boyfriend is a corpse. You get the joke. It's pretty okay anyway. So Noah's 23 and right now he is unemployed. It's forensic pathology, like getting a job in that they're not common. So while he's waiting for a job to open up, he's just desperately looking for work, and he's worked like a billion part-time jobs since he graduated 2 years ago. 1 year ago? He's 23, he graduated 22, 1 year ago. But he has a really hard time keeping a job because he's so single-mindedly obsessed with his passion, which is forensic pathology, that every other job that he works just feels like such a chore, and he can't focus on it. He can't put care or effort in no matter what it is. And so he frequently loses jobs. If this was a TV show, Noah would be like the kind of character who comes back every episode with a different job and in a different work uniform. And I know that I'm thinking of a specific character, but I can't remember who it is. Please help me. This isn't comment farming. I really just can't remember, and I'm really frustrated. So if you know characters with that archetype, please tell me. But anyway, that's the idea. One of the jokes about Jules that I really like is that he is quite obviously a vampire, and he's not even good at hiding it, even when he tries. And he does try, but he has fangs. He orders blood to the door. He has it door dashed. So I think Noah definitely has put those puzzle pieces together, and I think he's just pretty chill about it. And maybe he's into it, okay? Like, I haven't thought it all the way through, but like maybe he's a freak about it. I don't know. Noah and Jules met in college, and they've been dating for around 4 years, and they've lived together the last couple, so they're very close. They know each other very well. They might also have a cat. I haven't decided. If I end up making them a cat, it'll be on screen. That's Noah. This is a side tangent, but I've been drawing so much Final Fantasy fan art for years, 1 year, that these outfits are so mind-numbingly boring to me. I'm like, where are the 40 belts and the little metallic hangy things? Like, what's going on? And it makes me want to go back and change them, but this isn't a fantasy world. They like live in California, except it's not California because they're all wearing hoodies, but you know, I want to go back and make them look crazy. Last but not least, this is Lee. I love Lee. In 2021, there wasn't a plot, really. There was a basis for a plot, which, if I remember correctly, was Jules and Noah were boyfriends. And Lee was like this surfer himbo guy who was friends with Noah, and something happened where Noah told Lee that he could come stay at their apartment for an indefinite amount of time. I think that Lee's girlfriend broke up with him. I think that's why, but I can't actually remember because I never wrote it down. And also Jules hated Lee, which is still true. But now Jules has a reason to hate Lee beyond him just being really loud and annoying, and that is the fact that Lee is a vampire hunter. That's right, people. And he comes from a long line of very prolific vampire hunters. He is very Alice and Teen Wolf coded to me. Oh my god, don't listen to me. But what Jules hates more than the fact that Lee is a vampire hunter is that he is quite possibly the worst vampire hunter, the most incompetent one to ever exist. He's really strong, he's really jacked, but he is clumsy, he's uncoordinated, he's afraid of the dark, he's a slow runner somehow, and most importantly, he has the worst vampire radar ever. You'd think Jules would be relieved that Lee is so inept, because he has no idea what Jules is, but it's to the point that it's just infuriating. Lee obviously has to deal with a ton of pressure from his family to follow this line of work, but beyond being so horrendously bad at it, he also just doesn't want to do it. He doesn't like it. He was raised to hate and be afraid of vampires, but he's always had a really hard time hating anything, much less killing anything. So what I'm trying to say is that he's actually just a big softie on the inside. But he's really been imbued with the spirit of, like, toxic masculinity, if it was about vampires, I guess. It's basically toxic masculinity. And that's really hard stuff to unlearn when you've grown up in an environment like that. Lee is 23 years old, and he never went to college or really any kind of formal schooling. He was homeschooled most of the time, and sometimes he really regrets that, especially because he spent those really formative years hunting vampires, which is an activity that he hates. He loves the outdoors, he loves hiking and swimming and hanging out in the sun whenever he can, but beyond that, he doesn't really know himself, and he feels very much stunted and behind other people his age in terms of social skills and intelligence and things like that. He's very insecure. And he's not even good at vampire hunting, which is the thing that he's been supposedly trying to dedicate his life to all this time, which is really upsetting. You get what I'm saying? All of these characters are very relatable. He befriended Noah during one of his very brief stints in traditional school. It was in middle school, and he struggled there a lot, and he wasn't there for very long, but they became friends in a very typical little kid way, where Noah kind of noticed the new kid was having a hard time and didn't have any friends and just felt kind of bad for him. But they ended up really getting along and kept emailing each other for years and years until the current time when Lee shows up unexpectedly in Noah and Jules' city. And at this point, he's just getting more and more frustrated with this career that he's built his entire life around. And they finally see each other again, and since Lee has barely any money and no place to stay, Noah invites him over to stay at his and Jules' apartment. And so begins the capital P plot. And that's Lee. I love a character who's just really bad at their job. That's the reason that Uglesnop, the persona, is this broken robot, because I think it's so funny and real. This story takes place when Noah and Lee reunite and Lee comes to stay with them. And I think that they could just get up to some really fun antics. I don't know. I think originally they were a throuple, but they're not a throuple anymore. I changed my mind. I'm sorry. Clearly, all three of these characters have a lot to do with that early 20s time period in your life after you graduate college or finish any significant milestone. You don't have to go to college, and you're trying to find yourself and really figure out, like, what the fuck you're gonna do with the rest of your life. So, like, okay, I'm gonna go in order and you watch me doodle. So Jules is obviously in this very classic state of just cluelessness about his future and what's to come. And he thinks that there has to be a certain traditional career or something that speaks to him, and then he just has to find it. He has to find that, like, lightning in a bottle so he can finally become a full-fledged adult. I think his realization would be that all this cool artistic stuff that he does as a hobby that he enjoys on the side can be a real career, and that is a valid thing to do, even though it's not traditional or high-powered or what he studied in college. That's something that he's allowed to pursue. For Noah, I think he would come to the realization that these really uninteresting, boring part-time jobs that he's working and that he resents so much are just the stepping stones to be able to pursue the thing that he really is passionate about. And in working all of these jobs, he's developed a really varied array of skill sets and knowledge, and he didn't even realize it. And he's met so many interesting people. So he wasn't losing time or wasting his life or time. He was learning new stuff constantly, and it did add value to his life. And then Lee obviously has so much to unlearn, and spending time with these guys who actually grow to care about him makes him realize that his family actually sucks so bad. And that realization gradually leading to the fact that he's allowed to distance himself from people who hurt and belittle him and pressure him into doing something that he hates. And he is allowed to start over and start doing things and finding people who make him feel happy and fulfilled. So yeah, that's everyone. This is a relatable group, okay? I feel really tender towards them now, which is crazy because 2 of them didn't even have names before this. I also just really love redrawing stuff. I love improving, I love learning, I love growing. You can see how I inserted all of those passions into these freaks. Oh my god. Anyway, that's all for this video. This is a ramble. You're just gonna have to bear with me. You can leave if you want. But I did these gay pirate designs like a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to make them into a video, and I thought that would be fun. But then I watched the new Frog and Bunny video. Go check out Frog and Bunny, where they did like a prompt list art challenge, and now I want to do that. Except that I also watched the new Ashley Norton video on Catsa, which is awesome and you should go watch it. And now I want to draw a girl group. So I'm not sure what's next, but hopefully it will be coming soon. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye.